Jackal Nest, episode 14, part 3. Today we're starting a new segment called Comedian's Corner. And on Comedian's Corner, we talk about comedians being stupid pieces of shit. You know? It's not a hard thing to do.
No, not at all, really.
Well, I mean, it would be hard to do if they remembered that they were comedians. But a lot of times, they start making people laugh, and they make these points that make sense if you don't look into them too much harder. And they're, you know, it's like somebody said comedians are the new philosophers. Norm Macdonald famously said, that's a insult to the real philosophers. Because they make these points and they make sense at first, and as Voltaire said, a witty saying proves nothing. So that's what we're talking about here, is these comedians think that they're fucking super smart, and most of them did not pay attention. They're not that smart. They're just good at pointing out little fallacies and things. And half the time, they're not even fallacies, if you know that much about it.
Yeah.
So, this week is not really about that. It's just, we're just going to make fun of these two comedians that we just don't like.
Yeah.
One, because they're not funny. And two, because they're just fucking idiots, you know? What do we got? Who we got to talk about first? Chris D'Elia.
Ooh. Chris D'Elia.
The Diddler. You know that's his nickname?
He is a diddler. I'm glad that's his nickname.
That's his nickname, is the Diddler. And the Diddler did an interview where he said that, poor guy, he's right there with Jake Doolittle, man.
Such a victim.
He went through so much cancellation. Oh, it was all lies.
Oh.
It was all lies.
Poor guy.
He's contemplated suicide.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second. I'm sorry.
Do all the teenage girls of America a favor and
go ahead and do it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say it that time. I don't appreciate what you said, LB. You're not supposed to say stuff like that.
Well, I don't believe for a second he contemplated.
I don't think so either. That was one of the things that one of his victims said he used to manipulate them, is that he would threaten to harm himself.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep, she said that was one way that he'd get her to get the tattoo, get her to do sexual favors for him, get her to do all kinds of weird stuff, because he would call her up and start talking about how he was contemplating suicide and blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And you know what? The help that raised him would be very disappointed in that behavior.
Oh, I know. I would think so.
His dad probably doesn't give a fuck.
No,
you know?
Probably not.
His dad probably hardly ever talked to him, you know?
It's probably an embarrassment to his father.
No, he's probably, yeah, I mean, from the day he was born. He looked at that sharp fucking face. He probably looked like that when he came out the womb. Looked like a fucking crackhead right out the gate. It's like, all this sharp. I mean, you could cut glass. You could cut glass with that motherfucker's face.
You could.
He looks like I see that guy 10 times a day in the morning out here in our small town, over in the bad parts of town I frequent for reasons. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's easy to do in our town if you're just driving around.
Yeah. So he looks like one of these guys that's going to ask me for a cigarette when I'm trying to get gas on my way to work in the morning.
Yeah.
And he's rich. He has no excuse. No excuse.
Yeah.
The reason he looks like that is because God looked at him and said, let me help everybody else out and just show you that this guy's a piece of shit. Let me just make him look like a piece of shit too.
Right.
That way everybody knows. So anyway, he got famous off of a very bad takedown of Logan Paul. Logan Paul said some shit, and then he clapped back or whatever, but I don't even remember what he said. I just remember it wasn't even that funny. Mm-hmm. But everybody gave him a bunch of good job, because it was Logan Paul, and he's a piece of shit too.
Right.
So they just, he got elevated because he attacked the right person at the right time.
Right.
But really, now he's just doing Brendan Schwab podcast because he's been canceled, and he thought he was going to be the next Keanu Reeves. I don't know. He looks like the next fucking person Christopher Bell will play in a movie he gets an Oscar for.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He looks like the next.
Yeah.
Chris, we want you to play Chris D'Elia. You're going to have to lose like fucking 85 pounds and look like a crackhead. He's like, okay, I'll do it.
I can do it. So much I could say about Chris D'Elia and what a piece of shit he is.
God,
but...
he's the worst, man. He does look good, though. He does look good whenever he's on that podcast with Brian Callen and Brendan Schwab. He is quick-witted around those guys.
Well, come on now.
Who wouldn't be? So he's doing that same kind of thing that Brian Callen's doing. I had a very credible allegation against me, but I'm just going to pretend like I just said things that got me canceled.
Right.
No, that's not why you got canceled. You got canceled because there's very good evidence that you're a diddler. That's what happened.
You are straight up a diddler. You're not a sex addict.
No.
You prey on 15, 16, 17-year-old females.
That's right. And he tried to say, oh, well, I just had a bunch of sex with people I didn't know that good,
You're not a sex addict. You're a predator.
They decided later that it was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like the narrative he's pushing. And the guy interviewing him did not push back, so he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I should have looked it up so I could call him out. Maybe we'll do a whole segment on whoever that is.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll look into that a little bit more. Yeah.
So that's that. Whatever. Kick him out. Get out of here,
Chris D'Elia.
We ain't talking about you no more. You're a big tough
Gross.
guy. Hey, you're a big tough guy. You like to work out. You can fight me anytime you want.
His little thirst trap pictures he would post without a shirt on.
I mean,
shit.
I would put that motherfucker. I would put him in the locker.
So
He's
gross.
So weak and pathetic. I would hurt him so bad.
I know.
I'd rip his head right off his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the next person we're going to talk about, Matt Rife. I don't know if I can rip his head off. He does work out pretty good. He's probably a little stronger than me.
Yeah.
On paper, at least. That's what, Matt Rife is that kind of motherfucker that you wait till he's looking the other way and you hit him with something heavy when he's not looking. Right? And then his face would look exactly the same way it looks now. Because allegedly, he's had all kinds of shit pumped into his face, like a fucking 40-year-old, divorcee.
He just reminds me of Squidward from that SpongeBob episode where Squidward got gorgeous or whatever. That's what he looks like.
He brought that to the Botox people. He said, make me look like this.
He just looks like handsome Squidward.
He's like this.
Which is not great.
He's like this.
But I have to say, before I really knew anything about Matt Rife, I would just see his shorts on Facebook, and they were pretty funny. Like, he'd be acting. Like, the only ones I ever saw was him interacting with the crowd. Yeah. And they were pretty funny. He seemed very quick-witted, so I didn't think much of it. And then all this stuff started coming out about him, and I'm like, wait, is this guy that I've been watching on Facebook?
Let me tell you something about him. You guys suggested that stuff because you're a lady.
Oh, maybe so, and that's his following.
Base was ladies.
Yeah, maybe
And this is what happens with ladies.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's you, LD, but whenever a man looks attractive, I'm going to bring up Norm Macdonald yet again. He told a story that when he worked at Saturday Night Live, these actors would come in and they'd be like, I'm really funny, blah, blah, blah. But they weren't funny. They were just really handsome. Women would laugh because that's what women do.
Yeah.
If somebody's handsome, they laugh at just about everything they say. Also, if they're nervous, they'll laugh.
Yeah. Oh, gosh,
it's a thing women do.
That's more true. Yeah.
But, some guys won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
And he had this fan base. This is why Jason Momoa is a big star. Or Jason Mimosa, as I like to call him. He's not a good actor. He's a very, very attractive man.
Mm-hmm.
And women and men are different about the way they deal with attractive people. Men, because we're all misogynistic assholes, will just look at a woman and think she looks good and not give a fuck about anything else she does. Women will be like, oh, he's really attractive. He's talented too.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that's not the case. They will build these motherfuckers up. And I think that's what happened with Matt Rife, because I've watched those same videos, LD, and I gotta tell you, that shit's easy to do. It's easy.
For you.
For a person to say, he says the most mundane shit, and they all just laugh. Because they all think he's very attractive. I'll tell you, we'll watch again later, and I'll be like, now just think about what he said, and ignore all the you know, divorcees that are laughing at his shit, and just think about what he actually said. It's not funny. That being said,
really? I don't know, because I thought a lot of it was funny, and I don't necessarily think he's like extremely attractive, but
no,
I thought he was very quick-witted.
You don't think that?
I thought he was quick-witted.
I think you're getting in. Well, that's the other thing, right? He's hearing a lot of the same things every night. So maybe this first night he heard it, he didn't have nothing to say. But maybe whenever he heard it, fucking 2 weeks later at a show, he had something for it then. Because he's getting a lot of the same reactions. And so he's not going to show the one where somebody says some shit and he goes,
oh, God.
And he also leans on his black scent. You know, he does a black scent.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So that's how it be sometimes, though. You know, so like, there it goes. What it got to be when that's what's got to happen. I mean, they call it a black scent, but if you live in the South, it's a variation of a Southern accent. I'm telling you, you get around some people on the swamp, they do that same. They use the same kind of accent, believe it or not. But yeah, and then he's on Jordan Peterson, and he's talking like proper white person when he's doing that.
Was he really? I didn't know.
Yeah, and Jordan Peterson didn't know who the fuck he was. That was the funny part. Jordan Peterson's sitting there going, well, you know, whatever you... He's like, that's really quick-witted, the way you come up with something off the top of your head. And he was talking about the special he just did where everything was written. So Jordan Peterson didn't take an hour out of his day to watch this man's special before he goes on and defends him for the joke. He doesn't even know what the joke is.
Oh, no.
He's just full of shit.
I didn't even see that or hear about it.
I saw some clips, you know. At the end of the day, Matt Rife, who cares? Now he's alienated his female audience. Let's see how that'll be the real test.
I mean, because that was pretty much his audience, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could like go over to the red-pilled, black-pilled incel community and start being a Chad that works for them. You know, maybe that's what he's trying to do.
I could totally see him do that.
Yeah, just be like
honestly.
The next Andrew Tate, but a little nicer. You know?
Yeah, I could see that.
A little less fucking... I was going to say full of shit, but the same amount of full of shit. Not really. I don't think Matt Rife is, you know, trafficking people. But,
well, hopefully not.
No, hopefully not. I mean, I honestly don't give a shit about it, but we need a third segment, so I'm picking on Matt Rife right now. I don't know, he's a messy little bitch. He'll fight with a messy little bitch. He'll fight with the little 6-year-old, you know. Even if the mom's putting the 6-year-old up to it, you would think you'd have enough common sense to be like, well, it's just a clout chasing bimbo, you know. I'll just go about my day. But he's too soft for that, you know.
Just had to, because he's trying to be harder.
Yeah, he's trying to like.
He's trying to get a more of a like a male following now.
Trying to get them to respect him. Trying to get them to respect him.
Trying to be more controversial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the new thing. Get canceled on purpose, so you can brag about how you got canceled.
Yeah.
Like Tony Hinchcliffe, right?
Yeah.
Because he got quote unquote canceled years ago and he showed back up out of nowhere. And that's probably because he was pushing it. He's like, God damn, I ain't been canceled. if I want to be like my friend Joe Rogan and all these guys, I gotta get canceled.
God, you sound just like him. He's such a little. Oh, I can't stand to listen to that man talk.
And then he's one of those too that just says the lowest hanging fruit and then high fives himself about it afterwards.
Oh, I know. He's so gross.
Like he gets destroyed on his own show regularly.
Yeah.
And he just goes, well, you know, that's the way it is. But anyway, we're not talking about Tony Hinchcliffe today.
We may have to one day, though.
I wish he was Heathcliff.
Oh, I can't stand
I
him.
wish he was Tony Heathcliff like the cat, because Heathcliff was cool as shit.
He was cool as shit. That used to be like one of my favorite cartoons was Heathcliff. Yeah, I loved it.
Got overshadowed by
so
Garfield, and that ain't fair. That ain't fair.
I almost felt like he was a companion to Garfield, kind of.
Yeah.
But I loved him. And what was it? Were they called the Junkyard Cats? Do you remember that? They came on with Heathcliff, like, afterwards. And they lived in, like, a fucking junkyard for, like, old cars. I don't remember the exact name. I want to say it's the Junkyard Cats or something like that, but I don't remember it specifically. But I loved them, too. They were so funny.
I don't remember. I just remember the Garfield one was one of them split cartoons where it had Garfield, then it had like this barnyard people, animals.
Really? Why do I not? I don't remember.
See, we only remember
barnyard
the
guys.
cat parts together.
I
We don't
guess
remember
so.
the other parts.
Yeah, it's got to be cats, man.
Well,
It's gotta be
anyway, this
cats.
is how interesting Matt Rife is.
That we're talking about cats now.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, we're sorry. We had to do another segment.
No, I like Comedian's Corner though. I think it's fun.
We'll keep doing it. I don't want to do whole segments because a lot of it's not worth talking about.
But I love how these guys think they're so self-important. Like so many of them do, especially the like Joe Rogan crowd, you know. And I'm not trying to shit on Joe Rogan, but he kind of created this whole thing with these guys.
Just him. I mean, there's been this thing that comedians do where they want to look so cool. Mm-hmm. It's like take my picture in a trench coat next to a fucking
make sure it's
light.
Black and white.
Yeah, black and white. And come in.
Because I'm so cool and relevant.
Fucking cool. It's like, no, you're a fucking clown. We're laughing. We're laughing. That's the whole point.
Yeah, like
they lose sight of that. They just want to look cool.
700 years ago, you'd be a clown in a, castle, just making people laugh.
They'd be fucking dead.
Well, probably.
They wouldn't make it.
But you would be a legitimate, jester.
No, they wouldn't want to learn how to do anything. And they try to make jokes, and nobody would give a shit. And they just wouldn't make it. And that's the problem they have with children. We need to start, making it to where comedians can't have babies. Because they're bad parents. They're learning to fly helicopters all the time. Bill Burr.
Did we ever talk about that?
Do not learn to fly helicopters.
I know. It's like a death sentence. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stay out of fucking helicopters and private planes.
No.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Bill Burr,
you're a great pilot.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, you're a great pilot, Tom Segura. You should do it because you know better than anybody. You're the smartest person on the earth. You can do it.
Go right ahead. Bill Burr, just stay out of it.
Stay out of the helicopter, bro.
Don't do it, man.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's crazy.
All right, we got to call it now.
Yeah.
We got to call it.
We're almost at 20 minutes. I can keep going, but
you're having too much
I
fun.
I know.
All right, here we go.
Maybe.
All right.
Is it not playing? Oh no. Did it finally? Oh, there we go.
Thank you, everybody. If you watch this, we're back down to our regular numbers.
Yep.
40-ish. And I'm happy with that.
Me too.
And anybody that watches our stuff, we appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for subscribing.
And we like to have a lot of fun here, but the important thing to remember is we actually don't give a shit. But I do give a shit about people that are supporting us.
Me too.
And I give a shit about people that are sitting through here to watch it, just to
Yeah,
write
if you
something that gets
sit
on the
through-
comment board, or click off the video, whatever.
Yeah, if you sit through the whole thing, man, thank you so much.
Yeah. All week long until we come back to where we started from. Get ready, get me and drunk together again.
The show has ended.